get asked about Caitlin Clark and Indiana, and I'm like, guys, like, just relax. Like, they're gonna figure it out. They've got to learn how to play together. You know, she's thrown into this league right away, and she's gonna figure it out. And she did. And she's gonna see all kinds of coverages. She's gonna see all kinds of matchups. And so for us, working on how to become a little bit more efficient.
Stephanie White just made a statement about Caitlin Clark gameplay that has some fans worried. But before you start overreacting, let's break this all down because, trust me, Stephanie White is a hell of a coach, and she knows exactly what she's doing. This might actually be the best thing that could happen for Caitlin and the Fever's championship hopes. Let's get into it.
About whether or not she thinks that the Indiana Fever are a title contending team for 2025.
Is it realistic to say that this team is a title contender in 2025?
I mean, I think on paper, certainly. You know, you look at it and look, our goal was to bring in experience, to bring in players that can complement our big three. You know, I didn't know that we would be able to build the depth that we were able to build in year one. You know, I thought that was going to take a little bit more time.
All right, Fever fans, let's take a deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now, let's talk about what head coach Stephanie White said that had some of y'all on the verge of a meltdown. She mentioned that Caitlin Clark will have occasional moments where she plays off the ball. Fever fans are clutching their chests like they just got hit with a full-court press. What do you mean she won't have the ball? Relax, folks. Nobody's sending Caitlin to stand in the corner like a role player from a 2K simulation.
Not just from a conditioning standpoint, but from a rhythm and timing standpoint. So that becomes the next challenge. But getting more efficient in everything that we do. You know, for us, moving her off the ball a little bit more so she's not getting worn out in game, just handling the ball 94 feet. And then we're challenging her on the defensive end of the floor as well, like being a better defender. You know, the best that for us as an opponent, you know, you want to attack a good offensive player by making him play on the defensive end, putting him through the ringer. You know, and so being a better defender, you know, and I think being more creative.
Let's break this down logically. Caitlin Clark is one of the most gifted playmakers we've seen in women's basketball. Her vision, elite, her handles, shifty, her range, Steph Curry level disrespectful. So, yes, we get it. Hearing that she won't always have the ball glued to her hands sounds about as natural as a basketball game without a single foul call. But here's the thing. This is actually a good move.
I hate the but turnovers number because there is context to turnovers. That's not saying Caitlin Clark didn't turn the ball over a bit too much, especially early in the year. But ironically, the turnover numbers did not tell the full story about her turnovers. There were games where she committed 9 turnovers, where 7 of them were quote-unquote good turnovers, 2 of them were bad, and there was a game where she committed 5 turnovers and gave up 5 freaking...
Stephanie White isn't out here playing checkers, people. She's playing chess. Think about it. If defenses already treat Clark like she's radioactive when she's bringing the ball up, imagine what happens when she's running off screens, cutting to the basket, or pulling up for a 3 after a quick catch and shoot. It's terrifying. Picture this. Clark sprints around a screen, catches a pass from Kelsey Mitchell, and before the defender can even blink, splash, 3 points. No wasted dribbles, no triple teams, just pure buckets. Be honest, have y'all seen how opposing defenses treat Caitlin? The second she crosses half court, she's getting double-teamed like she owes them money. Defenders act like she stole their lunch money back in middle school. If she's always the primary ball handler, she's going to be dealing with constant traps, pressure, and defensive schemes designed to make her life miserable. Playing her off the ball in spurts allows her to get cleaner looks and preserve energy for when she does take over as the primary ball handler.
In our industry, if you're not a competitor, you're not going to last. And it doesn't have to be to win at all costs, right? It's just how you do what you do every single day. Like for me as a human being, like if you're leaving your shopping cart out in the middle of the parking lot, I'm judging you. You're not going to be on my team, right? Like you're not going to be on my team. If I'm watching you and you're on the end of the bench with bad body language and not being a good teammate, like I don't want.
Besides, let's not pretend like this is some crime against basketball history. Steph Curry, the actual greatest shooter of all time, spends plenty of time playing off ball, running through screens, and letting teammates set him up for open looks. The Warriors built an entire dynasty with that approach, and if it works for him, it sure as hell can work for Caitlin. So Fever fans, I need y'all to do one thing: trust the process. Caitlin Clark isn't about to be turned into some spot-up shooter who never touches the rock. She's just adding another weapon to her already ridiculous arsenal. And if anything, this should make defenses even more miserable. So, let's all calm down, put the pitchforks away, and get ready to enjoy a season where Caitlin Clark makes defenders question their life choices, whether she has the ball in her hands or not.
Anyone who watched the off-season workout footage of Caitlin Clark probably noticed the same thing. She looked like she bulked up a little bit. She looked like she got a little bit stronger. And that was confirmed by Fever coach Stephanie White. I mean, it was confirmed by our eyes, but she also said so in a Q&A with The Athletic, talking about the physical strength that Caitlin Clark added in the WNBA off.
Listen, let's be clear. Clark is still going to be the primary ball handler. She's still going to be running the offense, dropping dimes and pulling up from 35 feet like she's legally required to take logo threes every game. But Stephanie White isn't treating Clark like a one-woman superhero who has to do everything, all the time, no matter what. She's looking at this from a Michael Jordan perspective. Think about it. When MJ first came into the league, he was out there trying to do everything. He'd drop 50, play insane defense, and then wonder why he had nothing left in the tank by the end of games. Then Phil Jackson came along and told him, hey, maybe not playing like a my-career player with max stamina all game is a good idea. And guess what? That change extended his career and made the Bulls unstoppable. Caitlin Clark's situation is exactly the same. At Iowa, she had to carry everything. She was the point guard, the shooting guard, the small forward, the water girl, and the team spokesperson all at once. She had to bring the ball up, create her own shot, run the offense, and somehow still have enough energy to hit deep threes when it mattered most.
Absolutely. Have you spoken, I'm curious, to Caitlin, and what was that conversation, if you can share any of that?
Yeah, I spoke with Caitlin last night, and I think just overall excitement. You know, I have been watching Caitlin play since she was an 8th grader when I was coaching at the college realm and covering her games in college, and just an exciting time for me. Very excited to be working with her and this young team.
Not to mention, there's some pretty cool symmetry. You wore number 22 for the Indiana Fever. I mean, maybe it's too soon to say, but you could potentially be coaching the last player to ever wear 22 for the Indiana Fever. That's pretty cool.
It's very cool. I saw when they posted that today. I thought it was unique, certainly. She's a lot better, number 22. She puts the ball in the hole a lot.
That's not sustainable in the WNBA. You can't drop 35 points and 12 assists every night while constantly getting double-teamed by world-class defenders. That's how you go from MVP candidate to walking ice bath patient. So what's White's plan? Simple. Let Clark play off the ball at times so she's not completely drained by the fourth quarter. This means fewer games where she looks like she just ran a marathon by the final buzzer, and more games where she's fresh enough to absolutely cook defenders in crunch time. And let's not forget, playing off the ball isn't some punishment. If anything, it makes Clark even more dangerous. Defenses already treat her like a walking threat when she's got the ball. Now imagine her sprinting off screens, catching quick passes, and immediately launching deep threes before defenders can even react. So let's all chill. Nobody's turning Clark into a glorified decoy. She's just adding another weapon to her already ridiculous arsenal. And trust me, when she's dropping effortless 30 pieces because she didn't have to carry the entire offense for 40 minutes straight, y'all will be thanking Stephanie White.
Yes, she is stronger, first and foremost. And again, she's got a lot of self-awareness. And, she figured that out, right away. Like, I need to get stronger. I can't get knocked around as much. And so she's done a great job of getting in the weight room and really focusing on her areas that she needs to focus on in terms of strength, in terms of, low center of gravity, time under tension, like all of those things. I think the next step is efficiency. right? Like not so many turnovers, higher field goal percentages. She knows what's coming. I mean, you saw that throughout the course of last year. I remember.
At this point, you have to wonder what she was thinking when she expected Caitlin Clark to play off the ball. Here is the secret. Stephanie White is out here playing chess while other coaches are still struggling to figure out tic-tac-toe. The Indiana Fever's offseason? Pure brilliance. White's moves have Caitlin Clark fans sighing in relief instead of screaming into their pillows in frustration. White understood the assignment. She didn't just grab any random free agents off the clearance rack. No. She made calculated, strategic moves like a general preparing for war. First, she brought in DeWanna Bonner. She can score, defend, rebound. And here's the kicker. White already coached Bonner before, which means she knows exactly how to use her. Unlike the former coach Christy Sides, who just threw Clark onto the court for 40 minutes a night and told her, figure it out.
Welcome to Indiana, DeWanna. Welcome to Indiana. What I heard come out of your mouth is exactly why this signing, of all the other moves the Indiana Fever did this offseason, the DeWanna Bonner signing was the one that made me just get out of bed a little bit.
But wait, there's more. White also signed Sydney Colson, a veteran guard who's not only a great locker room presence, but also a solid ball handler. This means Clark finally gets to do something she rarely did as a rookie. Sit down. Imagine that. Instead of running on fumes by the fourth quarter, she can actually catch her breath, sip some Gatorade, and maybe even check Twitter to see what Skip Bayless is saying about her. And let's be real, this is the difference between elite coaching and survival mode coaching. Stephanie White is building a sustainable system, whereas Christy Sides was basically that friend who crams for the test the night before and hopes for the best. It's like comparing a Michelin star chef to someone microwaving ramen and calling it homemade cuisine.
Start this, and yeah, there's a narrative out there that Kathy made the call, all right? Kathy Engelbert. Oh, we got to make sure we get Caitlin Clark the championship, and I told you there's narrative floating. Number one, they're freaking out. Number two, the next thing you're about to hear is Caitlin Clark needs a super team to win a championship. So they're going to downgrade her status, and they're going to shit on her over that. It's already started. That's where they're going with this, folks.
Let's not forget the biggest impact of these moves. Clark doesn't have to do it all anymore. Last season, she was the Fever's entire offense, defense, and probably their in-house therapist with how much she had to carry the team. Now, if Indiana is up big in the fourth quarter, Clark can actually chill on the bench instead of being forced to play every second like it's Game 7 of the finals. This is load management, but make it smart. If Christy Sides were still coaching, we'd probably be hearing reports that Clark was playing 48 minutes per game in a 40-minute WNBA contest. Meanwhile, White's over here, managing minutes like an NBA coach protecting their superstar.
What the Indiana Fever did last night got me so excited. The Fever, if you haven't been paying attention, they are really active in ensuring that Caitlin Clark and company have a true contending lineup next season. They have Caitlin Clark.
Now, Fever fans, this isn't the Christy Sides era anymore. You remember those days. Caitlin Clark playing 40 minutes like she was auditioning for a one-woman Broadway show titled Survive and Advance. The old strategy was basically, hey Caitlin, carry us on offense, cover for the defense, and if you're lucky, we might set you a screen. Maybe. But enter coach Stephanie White, and suddenly, Clark has something revolutionary. Help. White isn't rolling out a hope and pray offensive system where Caitlin is running on fumes by July. Nope, she's got a real scheme in place. You know, the kind where your star player doesn't need an oxygen mask by halftime.
And throughout 44 games. Like, we've got 4 more games than we had a year ago in the same time frame, right? No Olympic break. And so we've got to be able to get a rotation. And I think for me, that's one of the things I'm most excited about. 2 years in Connecticut, we couldn't find a rotation. Our starters had to play heavy minutes. And I think at times in fourth quarters or throughout the end of the season, you could tell that a little bit because our efficiency dipped. We've got a lot of great offensive weapons that we've got to put in positions to be successful. We've got to get better on the defensive end of the floor. And so now with the roster that we have, we got to challenge our coaching staff right now to find out what that is, because it's going to be different than I think what we had originally planned because of the personnel. So do I think we can be title contenders? Absolutely.
Think of it like Luka Doncic versus Steph Curry. Luka? Dude plays hero ball every night. And by the fourth quarter, he looks like he's carrying bricks in his shoes. Steph? He's got a system, teammates who know what to do, and enough energy to shimmy his way into the playoffs. That's the vision for Clark. And rival fans? Oh, they're big mad. You'd think Indiana just found some cheat code. 1 second, people were saying, Clark's overrated. She won't last in the WNBA now that the Fever are actually building a contender? Suddenly, it's, Indiana is stacking the deck. Unfair. Let's be real. They're just salty because the Fever are putting together a squad that can actually win. While some franchises are out here treating the offseason like a clearance sale, Indiana is making chess moves.
Those were really great bench depth signings. This is something that the Indiana Fever did not have last season. Caitlin Clark had to play 44 minutes a game. Aaliyah Boston had to play way too many minutes a game. Kelsey Mitchell had to play too many minutes a game. And I personally did see that, before the Olympic break, it started wearing on them. And I can only imagine what the bench depth is going to do for the team.
Caitlin's about to go from, how is she still standing, to, how did she just drop 30 and still have energy to sign autographs for an hour? That's the Stephanie White effect. And for the first time in a long time, Fever fans get to watch a team with a real plan. So to the haters, keep crying. Indiana isn't just building around Clark. They're setting her up to thrive. And when she's still cooking in the playoffs while your favorite team is on vacation, just remember, you saw it coming.
The new Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White made a drastic exclamation this week, and we got to talk about it. She was doing an interview and she flat out said, if you don't return your shopping cart, we don't want you. We don't want those kind of people on our team. We don't want those kind of people in our locker room. We don't want those people at all. Return your shopping cart.
Think about last season. Clark was out there hooping like a college student working a double shift. No breaks, no breathers. She was the WNBA's version of a one-man band trying to play the guitar, the drums, and the trumpet all at once. And somehow, she still got them to the playoffs. But this year, now she's got backup, and that's dangerous for the rest of the league. For Stephanie White, if there were any doubts about her coaching, they're fading faster than a bad TikTok trend. What she's done with this team is the equivalent of turning a microwave meal into a 5-star dinner. The system is clicking, the ball movement is elite, and the defense? Let's just say opponents are realizing that playing against Indiana isn't a walk in the park anymore. It's a marathon against a cheetah.
By the way, Indiana's a small market. It ain't New York City, ain't LA, ain't Chicago. It's not the Sky, it's not the Liberty, it's not the Sparks. We're talking about the Indiana Fever, led by a girl that was playing at Iowa. It's producing the most watched WNBA games in over 2 decades.
Some people think the Lynx and Liberty have too much firepower. But hey, people also thought Netflix would never replace Blockbuster. And look how that turned out. This season, it's about to be a movie. Fever fans, get your popcorn ready. The takeover is happening. Here is a simple truth. The Fever are in much better hands. White is setting up Clark for success. And in the process, she's ensuring the entire team gets better. Because what's better than an elite Caitlin Clark? A well-rested elite Caitlin Clark. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. More videos are on screen now.